Hi, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. We're two friends having a good time.
I happen to be a Christian, and that's okay.
And I happen to be an atheist, and that's okay.
Welcome to the Christian and the Atheist podcast.
Let's dive in.
Hey guys, have you left a review for our podcast yet? Head over to wherever you listen to your podcast and do that right now. I mean, not right now, but soon.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Christian and the Atheist, and TikTok at Christian and Atheist.
Did you know that the Christian and the Atheist podcast is on Patreon?
When you join our Patreon community, you can get ad-free episodes and access to video chat with us once a month for 10 minutes to talk about episode topics and more.
Head on over to patreon.com/Christian and Atheist to sign up now. Hey guys, today's episode is going to be about holidays with and without religion. And today we have Kathleen here. No, I'm just kidding.
Obviously. I'm a guest. It's new.
What's really happening is we've sat here for a whole minute or two trying to start. And we're so tired from just who knows what life. And so let's just,
Well, and we tend to start out, we get weird and then we get less weird.
Yeah, it's a wild trip. We're normal people. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Okay, so
Never
everybody listening and Kathleen and me, we're going to shake it up. And we're going to get started. So, Kathleen, our sweet and wonderful atheist, is how do you do Christmas now that you're not a Christian? That is like something that we want to talk about. We want to talk about the traditions that you did while you were Mormon. And we want to talk about the things that I did growing up with a blended family. I'm telling you, I had so many Christmases. Before I was even married, millions of Christmases. It was a thing.
So the other thing I was interested in is I grew up, obviously, you know this, Mormon. And
yeah.
I'm interested to see how, the things that I did as a Mormon for Christmas and traditions and that kind of thing are different than, your Christianity or your experiences. And
to be honest, like I said, I grew up in a blended family.
Yeah.
It was chaos, meaning I was being trucked from one family to the other, to grandparents, to blended family grandparents. So we didn't really even have time to celebrate the true meaning of Christmas, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So I feel like, in all honesty, as an adult, I am trying to make that more of a thing because I still have a blended family.
Yeah.
And now I have an extra family from my husband's side.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
not to mention your own kids that you're trying to make your own traditions with.
And trying to be like, hey, sorry parents, we can't always show up to these things on Christmas, or even Frank's job was a situation. So that caused things to. So I think, honestly, every Christian's journey is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And who took it to what level.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a competition.
Right.
So it's I don't know. So let's just go ahead and dive in.
Okay. So let's start with how Christmas was as a kid. What were your family traditions growing up? How did you guys celebrate?
Okay. Do you want me to go?
Yeah. Go first and then I'll go.
Okay. So my parents are divorced and currently have their third marriage. So that started my dad and mom remarried their third spouse around the same time.
Okay.
So let's just go off of that, because talking before that it's too much.
Okay.
It will hurt your brain.
Okay.
It hurts.
You've done, every once in a while you'll talk yeah, I had I remember at one point I asked you how many step siblings you've had over the years, and you told me, and I was
question.
I don't know, that this is a lot for my brain to handle.
It's
there's a lot going on.
It's just too much, and it's not necessarily needed to go into.
Okay.
So my stepmom, she and her family are kind of like a Pentecostal style family.
Okay.
And so there's this place called the Barn that we would go to. and they would do a nativity scene style, or not nativity scene. They would actually read from the Bible the story of Mary and Jesus' birth.
And someone's acting it out.
And they're slowly walking in kids that are dressed up. Oh my gosh, it's the cutest. And hearing them pray, when the pastor prays, it was, oh Lord, just like that. And I'm not making fun of it by any means.
It's so fun.
It's like, situation of when you aren't used to it, you're like, wait.
Yeah.
Are you singing?
Like, is this what's happening?
Okay. This is nice. So that's one of the things we did. But also, with having divorced parents, we had to decide what parent gets us on Christmas.
Oh, like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was all over the place. I didn't really have a consistent, always like this.
Right.
So also, when it was Christmas Day and my stepbrothers were with us on Christmas and I was at my dad's, there's a lot of pictures that are so freaking cute of us early in the morning taking a picture by the Christmas tree, looking a hot mess, doing a funny smile. I love those pictures. And then I also have memories of being at Mom's garage apartment style thing before she got married to Joel. And that was fun too. But honestly, like, the tradition was sometimes we were at Dad's, sometimes we were at Mom's, or sometimes we were going from one place to the other on Christmas.
Okay.
And so as far as my parents go, I don't feel like a lot of like, hey, we're going to church to celebrate Jesus' birthday. It was, okay, we got to get you guys from here to there.
Yeah.
And then let's
the
go
logistics
from here to there.
more than the religious.
It was wild.
Aspects.
And it's like, I'm not even like, this isn't I'm mad because it was like that. It's just how it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it was kind of crazy. And I think that might play a part in why I don't like Christmas that much.
Yeah.
Because it was stressful.
Yeah.
Getting from one place to another. And it's the name of the game, having a blended family. You just, I mean, you can't make everybody happy. There's no finding a happy medium there, to be honest, unless y'all do Christmas together. And that sounds insane. Even like ones that get along, you know what I mean? Because you're truly like in somebody else's house. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I have a lot of grace for my parents for holidays where I don't have a lot of grace for certain things. I will give them grace for that.
I feel like holidays, no matter what, are stressful.
How can you? Yeah.
And there's only so many, and like, you're only one person. You can't be in three places at once. So.
And then there's grandparents that want to be with the grandkids.
Yeah.
And so I will say on my mom's side, so much fun. There's so much fun there because with her, she's close with her siblings. And so, and her dad who's now passed away. We all get together and have like Christmas with the cousins, and it was a big thing. Like, great grandparents were there, grandparents. It was a full house of chaos. That's fun. And this is like we talked about on our Thanksgiving holiday talk or whatever, how as a kid we had no idea that, like, we weren't stressed out. Yeah. This was like, those were not stressed out times. You get a lot of food and you hang out with your cousins.
Roll around the house like goblins.
Yeah. And you get your little cousins who have like a weird, like, that are 3 years old and can't say words right. You get them to say things. Nothing bad. We weren't those people. But like.
We were. Not really.
Well.
But we would have been had we not been. Yeah, we were.
It was. Yeah. And she was our baby cousin, Cadence. We would do all that, and that was fun. And the same thing would go for like my dad's side of the family, who he doesn't have any siblings. But we would get together with other cousins and hang out at my great-grandparents' house until they had passed away, and then that all changed. But, like, that's kind of the gist of things, is it was a lot of being trucked around Oklahoma and going to the different Christmases. I remember going and counting how many Christmases I went to. Yeah. There were 6 at one time.
Good grief.
If not more. And I just don't want to be, like, I'm not exaggerating. And I think one time it's been up to 7 or 8.
That's so much. Yeah. I mean, that's fun as a kid who had one.
It was fun as a kid. As we got older, it was like.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
You don't have time to breathe in between.
And now I have kids. So I'm like, now it's like, for if we want to talk present tense, what Frank and I have had to do is set boundaries for Christmas Eve.
Oh, I can imagine.
And Christmas. And try to also include him because his schedule was crazy, but he's got a new job now. So it's totally going to lighten up.
Yeah.
But for 11 years,
yeah,
we have had our kids, and he sometimes works on Christmas.
Yeah.
So
Brandon has to work every once in a while, too.
So whenever Frank would work night shifts, or he would work night shift or day shift, it depended on how his schedule fell. So when he would go into work, it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning. This is one of my favorite traditions while he was working, even though it was a lot. Was he wants to be included. He's the dad, right? With specifically our kids.
Of
no
course.
one else involved.
It would be a bad thing if he didn't want to be included.
Or what I would think would be like, hey, let's just pick a day and say it's Christmas. Close to Christmas.
But
instead, we did a whole thing where he would either be getting home or he would be
leaving.
About to leave.
Yeah.
And he has to leave by 4:30 in the morning.
Woof.
So we get our kids up either at 4 or 4, well, around 4 o'clock because we wanted to, or sometimes it would be like 3:30. And we're like, it's Christmas, and wake them up in the morning, 3:30 a.m. and be like, let's open presents.
That's cute, though.
And so we did that a few times in a row. It was like 2 or 3 times in a row. And when your kids are little, it's like their life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that's something that we've done a lot of. It's like, and also like, I don't have Santa come in my house and put Christmas gifts out.
No?
No, absolutely not. Santa's not allowed in my house. That's crazy.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Then what on earth?
You want to hear?
Yeah. You crazy pants.
So we have an alarm system.
Yeah.
This is okay for anybody to hear. I just want to throw that out to our audience.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I won't put this out. That's okay.
It's all good.
It is. I mean, and so we set a table outside, a little, like an end table style thing.
Okay.
Something small style table. We have a cup, a plate, and a bowl. The bowl is for the carrots for the reindeers. The cup's for the milk and the cookies are for the plate.
Yeah.
And we have a little Christmas. We had little Christmas tree we would put out there, so hey, no, this is with lights. This is where you can get your stuff and then leave the presents at the door.
Okay.
And so one time Santa got Ashton a bike. And so we make sure to do it at a time that Santa's already come. It's crazy, but I kind of love that it's outside.
Yeah.
And we are like, let's go see what he brought.
That's cute.
And they're like, oh my goodness, he came. We always line up at the door.
Yeah.
And open it and see. And it's cute. So cute. That's fun.
That's cute.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Because it keeps them from running into their living room and us missing their reaction.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
That's kind of our traditional situation. We really don't go to a lot of church stuff.
Yeah.
Until I think last year no, because it's COVID, but there was a time that our church will do instead of doing, it depends. Sometimes there's candles, sometimes it's glow sticks where we do a candlelit service.
Okay.
And I think it truly just depends on how the pastors want to set it up. And I think both are very similar and beautiful.
Yeah.
And so we'll sing Silent Night, and all the pastors get on the stage and we all sing it together, kind of a cappella. Because our church is a big band status. Lights and it's a whole thing. So it's really intimate. And in the past we've done communion together.
Okay.
On Christmas, I think, which sounds funny because that's an Easter tradition. But anyways, so I feel like we don't do Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah.
We don't do Elf on the Shelf.
We do.
And so that's fun for those who like to do that.
Yep.
We do get a real Christmas tree every year.
Yeah.
And we go to, there's a Christmas tree farm here in Owasso. And we go in last year is our first year to cut it down. There's a field specifically that there's multiple fields of Christmas trees. And some of them are, I'm a cheap tightwad person. I can't justify buying $100 tree.
No, I'm not going to do that.
There are $100 trees.
I'm sure they're beautiful.
And then there's these fields that have like $30 trees.
There's where I'm at.
And they're really nice.
Yeah,
they're
your
really
tree is
nice.
Great. Your house smells beautiful.
I'm going to let you know that's not a $30 tree because the $30 trees were gone.
Oh,
that field
nuts.
was empty. They like it was like I didn't realize it was just one field. I thought we were good. So another thing I didn't know is you can go up there and before Thanksgiving even and claim your tree, pay for it, put a ribbon around it, and then go get it later to cut
there
it down.
You go.
And I was like, thanks for telling us that like we're doing that because we got a tree one year. The Christmas tree stories. There's one that blows my mind. So two really they're quick too. One year we got one, I think on Thanksgiving or close, like the day before, or the day after. That tree died.
Yep. I was going to say, turned brown and crumbled.
Pooped all over our living room floor.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the heck? And for weeks, we couldn't get all of the Christmas tree out of our house.
Gross.
Because it was like all over the floor.
Like sap and like...
No. Just pine needles. Yeah. Anyway, so then there was a year that I don't know if it was the same tree or not, that a cricket got into it.
Oh,
and it was chirping.
And you can't find it.
And it was chirping. And we had one TV in our house. And it was in the living room. And so the kids would go to bed and we would watch like The Walking Dead or whatever.
Yeah.
And
chirp,
we
chirp,
would hear
chirp,
this
chirp,
god-awful. It was so loud. It was like a freakishly loud.
I mean, at least it wasn't a squirrel.
I would have taken a squirrel because you can find it. You can find it and get it out.
Yeah.
We were looking for this chirping cricket and we'd find it and then it would run to the back and you can't catch it. And so maybe if we shake the tree it'll stop chirping.
Oh my gosh.
And so it stops and then it starts again. Yep. It wanted its woman and by golly our house was so loud. So what we ended up doing, and it was way before Christmas, was taking that tree out of the house and throwing it out in the backyard. Yeah. We took everything off of it and threw in the backyard. We didn't have a Christmas tree.
Oh my gosh.
Christmas. And we opened Christmas presents in our bedroom. It was fine. But we were like, we talk about it to this day. It was the worst.
That's so funny.
It was so loud.
Those are the type of stories, though, that like as kids, my family just did. They weren't about Christmas stories, but like last night, my family, we were all reminiscing about like crazy situations that happened when we were kids. Like one time there was a termite swarm in our house.
Oh my goodness.
They came up through.
Imagine? Well, you lived this.
This is why I'm an arachnophobic. Yeah. This is why.
Yeah, this is a conversation.
I am 100% like I cannot handle spiders. I don't like bugs. I don't do it. And there's two reasons. We were talking about these. This has nothing to do with holidays. Get ready, folks.
It's good enough.
So I was probably middle school, maybe younger, like 10 years old, maybe. And we were in my house that I grew up in Broken Arrow. And there was, all of a sudden, it was me, my mom, my dad was a truck driver, so he was gone. And my sisters, two of my sisters, one of them had already left for college. Daisy had already left for college. And so we were hanging out in the living room and suddenly we start noticing the floor looks like it's moving.
No.
Yeah. And so what happened was there had been a termite colony building underneath our house that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
And they came up through the floor, through the vent in the floor, like the air conditioning vent, and went across the house to the back door, the patio door, for like an hour. Then there were millions of them. The floor was black and moving. And I,
forget about it.
My brain broke in half. I was like, what? This cannot be happening. It freaked me out so bad.
Yeah.
That like, and I still will like close my eyes and can see it. And then, and like my mom's freaking out and panicking and what do I do? And she's trying to call my dad who's driving somewhere in Wisconsin or something. I don't know. And she can't get a hold of him because this is the 90s and no one has cell phones. Yeah. And she's like, what, how do I even handle this? And after a while, they just all left and were out the back door, and she called a termite company, and they came out and like treated our house and put down termite bait, and I'm sure it was super expensive.
Yeah.
But I was 9, so I don't care about that.
I mean, yeah.
And like
grown up life.
Yeah, and like and then we just never talked about it again. It wasn't like, hush, hush, don't speak about this. It was just like, well, that's over.
That
Moving
happened.
on. And no one ever spoke about it, and no one ever sat me down and was like, little sister, how is your brain after that?
It was,
and apparently I needed it. After those 2 instances, because I didn't used to be afraid of spiders. I remember being like
it's
a little kid and being irritated at kids that were scared of bugs. I mean, like, they're just bugs, but
this like happened.
And these 2 instances, I think, are the reason I can't do it. And so it's like, but we talked about those last night, and it, like, at the time, those were insane stories of crazy and stress and panic.
Right.
And now we're like laughing and like, remember the time the alarm went off in the night and everyone, like, the whole neighborhood woke up and we couldn't get it to turn off? That's crazy. Like,
yeah, we have a lot of those, especially around Christmas time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Christmas
so
is
I
stressful.
feel like childhood-wise, it was really stressful. Adult-wise, Frank and I have done a lot to try to make it as less, like, last year was so nice.
Yeah. Last year was nice.
We didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound that way, and I do want to be with people. I love being in with my family.
Of course.
But there's so much that goes with it that having a short break from it was nice.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get back together, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we do have Christmas, and then we like have Christmas with my dad and his parents come, my grandparents come to that. And then we go to Frank's family and his sisters are there.
Mm-hmm. As a kid, it was around 6 Christmases. What do you guys do now? Around how many Christmases do you guys go to?
Pre-COVID, we would go to my mom's, and my mom would have around 2 or 3 because it would be the one with the kids, meaning her kids.
Yeah.
And my stepdad's. And then we would have one with her brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And then we would have one with the extended family, meaning the great aunts and uncles.
Good grief.
And so what we would try to do is have that all in one day.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hear me out.
Okay.
So it starts with us, mom's kids.
Yeah.
And that starts around, I want to say 10, 11.
Uh-huh.
And so we have to drive 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we're getting up early.
Like 7 a.m.
If not, we'll stay the night.
Yeah.
And then the aunts and uncles will come around noon and we'll have lunch with them and do their Christmas. And then the great aunts and uncles and all the cousins for that will show up for like 2 or 3, maybe 4. And all this is potluck, so more food's coming in. And we'll do Christmas. And what Christmas is like with them is Dirty Santa.
Okay.
So Dirty Santa is where you bring a gift. You sit, and that's for 3 situations.
Okay.
So that's $20+ per thing. So that's $60 we're spending on one situation.
Good grief.
And if the kid per person, so 120.
No.
Isn't that stupid?
That's so much.
It's so. But it's fun.
Yeah, but
this is why it stresses me out. Christmas stresses me out. And before we were like, when we were dirt poor, like I was like another thing, my stepdad is like the greatest, and he's like, I got gifts for you guys, so you don't have. We have extra.
Yeah,
I'm like,
in case you can afford to spend $300.
So I will say, there's many years we didn't spend that.
Yeah,
because my stepdad and my mom cushioned that.
Yeah,
blow for us. Anyway, so what happens is everyone grabs a number. It goes, sometimes the numbers are all the way up to like 16 people.
We've played it with various stuff before, and it's fun, but it's
so fun, but it's so
it can get hectic,
and there's different games
3
we've
hours.
played. Yeah, and there's different games you can play, and they're fun, and some of them are really long. Some where you roll a dice, and then like if you roll a 6, you move your gift like 4 times over. I don't know. To the left, to the right, to the person in front of you. I don't know.
I'm tired. I'm already too tired for this.
And so then and that was my mom. And then there was my dad, and it was easier because my grandparents would come to that one, or we would go to my grandparents and my dad would show up to that one. It just depended.
Right.
Depended on, because he was in the middle of selling his house, building in the barn, living in a camper, and then building a house. So years it was all over the place. And so then we do Frank's family. In Frank's family, we do Dirty Santa with the siblings instead of all of us buying for the siblings. And then we started doing Dirty Santa with the cousins. The little ones would do Dirty Santa because they wanted to be a part of it too. Yeah. So we're like, let's do kid style for them. So, yeah. And then we would have our own Christmas. So
it's like 7.
It was crazy.
12.
It was a lot.
It's 400.
It was too many. It's a lot. It's asking a lot. And I've talked to my family and said, for certain reasons, we're going to go ahead and cut out a few.
Yeah.
So we will be doing Christmas with our parents for sure. All parents are involved. We want to be a part of that. So that is our Christmases now. That was pre-COVID. Post-COVID, I don't know. We're going to figure that out.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy.
Wow.
Regardless.
Wow. It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I think that might be part of the reason I have a hard time with Christmas.
Yeah. I also don't love Christmas, but it's not necessarily the busyness. I don't really know. I think it's just not as fun.
I didn't like the capitalism of it, we spend all this money in Santa, blah, 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 Santa. And I'm like, no, it's for Jesus. Remember the situation here at hand. Like, it's very important to me, it still is, to celebrate the true meaning of Christmas, which is Jesus was born. So
Jesus's birth is the meaning of Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the main, to be honest, yes.
Okay.
But are we celebrating it that way? No. By choice? No.
Yeah.
But also, I guess at the end of the day, the meaning of Christmas is 2 meanings for me and my family is getting together with family and celebrating the birth of Christ.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
And getting together with people that piss you off sometimes.
Yeah, family.
And I was dumb enough to record an episode and post it during before family get together, and then got together with my family, and it was like, whoops. I'm going to think that through a little better next time.
We'll see how Christmas goes for you.
I think Christmas will be fine.
Yeah, that'll be great.
But as far as but anyways, no, family get-togethers are great, but also could be stressful.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell us about you growing up and then you now with
Christmas growing up, we didn't do a whole lot of extras visiting. My mom's side of the family have all passed away.
Wow.
And so it's just her. She has an aunt and an uncle who live in Colorado, and they would come visit sometimes, but it's a bit of a drive for them, and so sometimes they'll be in town and hang out, and that's always a blast because they're really fun.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, it was just us. My dad's side of the family all live in Indiana and Michigan, and so as a kid, there were times that we would drive up there for Christmas, and visit because his whole family, like parents, sisters, brothers, like everybody is basically in this one town. They've since kind of moved around the country, but when I was a kid, it was this one town, had all of my cousins, all of my aunts and uncles, everyone lived in this one town. So there were a few times, I remember one year we went up to, it was a surprise. We didn't tell my grandma we were coming, and we snuck in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve, and we laid out sleeping bags under the Christmas tree. So on Christmas morning, she woke up and we were all laying under the Christmas tree. It was so fun. And so it was
so cute.
Yeah. And we'd go over to my aunt's house on like Christmas Day, and the same type of thing. Like the adults would all hang out and eat and make the food, and the kids would all roll around in the basement.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. It always snowed up there, and so that was like
special.
Like it snows here, obviously, but it's not like miss. It's not like Michigan. Like it's different.
Yeah. Sometimes our snowflakes aren't even that big.
Sometimes they melt before they touch the ground.
It doesn't stick around for very long.
No, and I have
a funny story about Michigan. So whenever my sister was pregnant, it's quick, I promise.
You're fine.
This is what Michigan people make fun of me because of the things I say, but I'm from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
So I was at my sister's house. It was snowing, and my sister was pregnant, and she was about to have a baby. And so we were waiting on the baby to be born.
Yeah.
And it starts snowing, and my brother-in-law goes outside with a shovel to shovel the snow off the porch. I was like, why are you shoveling it?
Yeah.
Why don't you just walk on it?
Yeah.
He's like, because of my pregnant wife. And I was like, it's... So I still didn't understand.
Yeah.
But snow there sticks around, and
if you walk on it just packs down into ice,
and it's a problem.
Which is not like that here. Those of you who aren't from Oklahoma, we walk on it and it melts under the heat of your foot, and it's gone.
It's not even a thing. Like, I've never had packed ice on my.
We don't own a snow shovel. We don't own one.
But that's crazy if you ask me. But no,
have we ever needed one? No.
No.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
But yeah.
There's been one time that we had snow,
funny.
and it was last year, and we were just like, we'll just kick in the 4-wheel drive and the Armada, and we'll be fine. And we were.
Right.
It was not an issue.
Like, it's early December right now, and it's 70-something degrees, or it's going to be 70 degrees outside.
It's supposed to be 70 degrees today. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm down with it because I hate the cold. But anyway.
I live for it. I'm not upset.
But sometimes we'd go up to my grandparents up in Michigan and Indiana, but that was really like maybe once every couple of years. For the most part, we were just home with just us, my immediate family, and that's it. And it was kind of nice that way. We didn't have a ton of extra stress. Wow. My dad was a semi driver, but he always made sure that he got home for Christmas and Easter. And that's so good. He was home.
Did y'all do a lot of church stuff?
Not really. Like, we would do leading up to it. Like, at church, they would have activities, like Wednesday night activities that were Christmas themed. Yeah. And, like, we used to do, when I was a youth, every year we would do gift baskets. We would get together and people would donate supplies, and we would make gift baskets and then take them to a local, I think it was a food bank in.
Oh, wow.
And then we would also do a blanket drive. Same thing. We would, a lot of the women would make blankets, like quilt them, and we would have like an activity night where everybody would show up to the church, like everybody. And the women would be quilting blankets and making them, like cranking these things out.
That's amazing.
And we used to kind of like set a goal and be like, what's the most amount of blankets we can get?
Wow.
And like there were hundreds
so
and hundreds
neat.
and hundreds. And then we would donate.
Per ward?
Like,
or like
it was just,
one ward?
I think it was just our ward. Like, this was something that we did.
Yeah.
I don't think this isn't like church wide.
Okay.
There may have been other wards in the Broken Arrow area that did it as well. And
if they did, specifically yours.
Yeah, we did this
amazing.
thing, and we would donate them. And so, like, they were things like that we would do that were kind of Christmassy, and we would have always, there was at least once or twice that we would go, like, sing Christmas carols at a nursing home with the youth, and there'd be, you know, stuff like that. But on Christmas Day, we didn't go to church unless it was fell on a Sunday. And even then, sometimes...
Did your church have Christmas on Christmas? Ours doesn't. Like... Christmas on Christmas. Wow.
I don't know what you're asking me.
A sermon.
Only if it fell.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
Only if Christmas Eve or Christmas Day fell on Sunday, we would go. And they would have like a Christmas program. And they would do a Christmas program every year the Sunday before Christmas. And it would be like the choir would sing extra and there'd be, you know, that kind of thing.
Y'all had a choir?
Mm-hmm. I was in it. Which is not...
No way.
Yeah, that's
hilarious.
No, it was bad.
I'm not meaning that in a bad way.
You should, because I'm a terrible singer. I mean... It's not good. It's not cute.
That's great. I'm glad you were part of it.
I did it when I was like 12. My sister and I, it was like a thing. The 12-year-old girls all were like, yeah, we're in the choir. And so I joined
we're
it.
Anointed. My God.
It was bad. Brandon's aunt actually was the choir director, who at the time I didn't know. I didn't know they were related, but I grew up with.
Y'all got married.
I know. I grew up with his like cousins and aunt and uncle. We would do stuff like that. And my actual family traditions, we had a few that we did every year. One of them we would, instead of making Christmas cards and sending them out, like you send into a company and you print a picture.
Did you ever do that?
No, as myself, no, I don't do that.
Okay, sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt. We'll talk more
I ain't got
about
no time for that. I'm too tired and old.
Same. It's $100.
It's so expensive. It's so
like
late.
If you're sending out 50, you're spending $100.
Do you think I have that many stamps? No.
That's crazy.
Do you think that I'm going to figure out how to get that many envelopes in my life?
I love when people do it, though. I don't mind
love
getting them.
I love when people send me, but I'm not.
I don't take it personal.
No, I don't.
I had a cousin that would write out a whole story and it rhymed about what was going on with their family.
Not going to do it.
Props to her. She was a teacher.
That's adorable.
And I was like, she did it twice. And I was like, that's impressive.
My sister sends out. Well, I'll get to it. But yeah, so instead of like printing it out and spending a lot of money, my mom would buy these cute little like just blank note cards.
Yeah.
And she would sit all of us down with crayons and markers and we would make them ourselves. So kids, and they were all Christmas themed and we would like draw this one. I'm drawing Santa and it's like a little kid's version of Santa. And then they were just like postcards. And then on the back, she would write the address and send them off. And then we would make, it's called Pfeffernuss. It's a German like gingerbread cookie.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it. That's how we always said it. We would make that every year and we would make
legit.
It's just little gingerbread. They're really like you know how gingerbread sometimes is kind of not spicy, but it's got like the spice element to it. And it's a very like spiced gingerbread. It's yummy, but my mom would get excited and make literally like 80 pounds of it.
I'm not upset. If it's good, I'm down.
And then we'd give it to people.
I'm with her.
She'd take it to church and give it to the people who she taught in her classes. Or, and so we would do that. The other thing we would do every year was the nativity play that you were talking about at the church. We would do that in our family.
Yeah.
And so my dad or my mom would read the birth of Christ story.
Right.
And every year we'd get pillowcases and sheets and belts and wrap ourselves up in them so we looked like angels and shepherds.
That's cute.
And then we had a rocking horse that we would pull whoever was Mary on, and we had a baby doll. And as years went by, we added, husbands, and then kids started being born.
Right.
And so the last few years that we did it, they were like, it was just the grandkids, but there's 15 of them.
It's crazy.
And so there's like 6 shepherds and 4 angels. And it was like, and my mom loved it. And we don't do it anymore.
I think it's so sweet.
Yeah.
I'm on your, I am voting for it to continue to go on, but when it's the little kids that are liking it, but whenever the kids stop.
So we did get to a point where I think a lot of the older kids, because my side of the family, the oldest is 21, I think, or almost, she turns 21 this year, and the youngest is 10 months. So there's a big span.
Right.
Of all these, and so a lot of the older kids were like, oh, okay, I'm sick of doing this.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where we left the church, and my kids were not super thrilled about being baby Jesus. And so we ended up we basically at one Christmas, we were like, you guys can keep doing it, but we're going to step back. We're not going to do it. And then it got to a point where nobody does it. Because I think my mom was afraid and my family was afraid of hurting our feelings by doing it or making us upset by doing it. And then on top of that, a lot of the older kids were like, can we not? So
I think this will hurt Kathleen's feelings, Grandma.
Yeah. No, she's super mad.
She doesn't want to do it.
And
Kathleen?
Yeah, that's it. And so the other tradition we do with my family is every year my sisters make a end of the year book where they print out pictures of each grandkid throughout the year, and then we each write as their parent a little page about what they did this year.
Wow.
And then they bind it up and they print it and they send one to my mom and then they send one to my grandma. And so they have one from 2007 or 2008 or something on when Portia was a baby. We started doing this, and we have them all the way.
Special.
And so it's cute. It's really fun. It's always really every year comes a time where I get a text from one of my sisters that's like, it's time for the Christmas book. And we're all like, ugh, because I have to write
10 years from now.
Yeah. And it's fun to open them up from 5 years ago even and see the pictures of everybody. And it's really cute.
Super stressful for the time of
year. For a minute. It is for a half a second, but
when your kids are grown and their kids are looking at that.
Yeah. And we're not it's my family is very, I've said before, we're not super formal.
Right.
The little pages we send. We're not like, it's a lot of like this year, you know, for example, this year I just wrote them and I talked about how my girls like they tried out for a really competitive volleyball team and they got on. And so I talked about that. Big deal, and I talked about how Margot just got braces, but I also talk about how like Elena still doesn't sleep in her bed every night.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's a nice theme for the last 6 years of her. And so like there's like
I want to read these.
They're fun
for your kids. I don't know your other kids are.
I have digital copies of them. I can send it to you.
It's really cute. I want to see it.
Yeah, one of my sisters is a graphic designer, right? And so she like designs it, and it's beautiful and really cool looking every year, and like it's really fun. And so
way to go, family. I'm clapping for that in my head.
And then we also get together. So as far as like Christmas goes, as kids, we would, you know, my parents would set up the Christmas tree. We'd all set it up together. Yeah. And we'd listen to, my mom has decorations that some of them are her parents from when she was a kid. So they're 50 years old and they're like super cool and vintage and like really fun. And so like there's certain ones that I would always look forward to setting up every year and like looking at them and having fun. And then we'd listen to old records of Christmas music and, you know, that kind of thing.
That's so nostalgic sounding.
It really was very like if you imagine like a movie of Christmas, that's what it was. And then the mornings we wake up super early and we go get our mom and they're both sound asleep and they're like, no, 10 more minutes. And then they'd make us like put on socks, brush your teeth before everyone go to the bathroom and then they would like walk out with us. Aww. And like, you know, and then we'd all open gifts and
I love that. Yeah. This is so fun to talk about.
It's fun. And so my family now, so growing up, of course there was, you know, Christmas music is religious, talking about it's the first Noel and it's, you know, it came upon a midnight clear and it's all this stuff. And we'd go to church and we'd, you know, we had nativity scenes. My mom has a couple of really cool, my neighbor across the street growing up was this little old lady named Stella who was kind of our adopted grandma. Yeah. And when she passed away, she had, I won't say she was a hoarder because her house was immaculately clean and organized and beautiful, but she was a child of Depression era. Mm-hmm. And so she didn't get rid of stuff.
She kept all the things.
She didn't get rid of things. When she passed away, her kids, I think, were grown and didn't really want any of her stuff. And she donated her house and everything in it to her church. Wow. And they had a day where they were cleaning everything out and they knew that we were very close with her. And so they said, whatever, you know, we're going to auction off X, Y, and Z, but everything in this like section over there is stuff we're just getting rid of, throwing it away. Oh. If you guys want it, go find it. And my mom found a bunch of stuff that was really nostalgic. And like at one point she found this nativity scene that Stella and her husband Art, who I don't remember him, but my family does. They had gone to, I think, Guam or something. Wow. Like some honeymoon-esque vacation. Right. And they bought this hand-carved bamboo nativity scene. And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's so cool. And it's in perfect condition. It's like 70 years old. And so my mom has that. And
that's so cool.
That kind of thing.
See, I don't have a nativity scene.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted one.
We have one in my house, actually.
Is it Is it set up?
No. It's one of those that like, you know, like the little kid ones that you can buy?
No, I don't because I don't have one. What do you mean?
So there's the nice ones you buy that are like glass and they're meant to be keepsakes that you set up every year. And then they have ones that are like, so the one that we had that I think my mom got it for the kids years ago, it's like made of blocks, like little wooden figures that have like pictures painted on them of like, and you just set them up. And so
they're
over
like
the years,
pegs or something.
Yeah, over the years, half of them have gotten lost or fallen off. Right. And so we have like in the bottom of the Christmas box, there's like one shepherd and
that's hilarious.
I think it's a Joseph, but I'm not sure. And like, you know, a donkey, and the kids like play with them, but we don't set it up. Yeah. There's nothing like.
So there's an Advent you can do where you like line your fireplace or just a line, and it has like a sock and it has little figurines for the nativity scene that one of my friends does. And so every day they grab one out of the sock
That's cute.
And add it to the nativity scene. The last one is Jesus.
That's cute.
I want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
So I didn't know about it.
I forgot a tradition that
my go ahead. I forgot one too, so we can like talk about it.
Another tradition that we always did as a family, they called it the nativity candle. So we would get a long candle, and if you take like a knife and you etch marks in it, and then we would use like glitter paint on it. So it has like 24 days. And we would, every night, we would burn to the next etch mark on the candle while we read a scripture together, like a scripture story. Okay. And they kind of went backwards. So they started, like the first day was the scripture story of like the Easter where he rises from the tomb. And then the next day would be like the suffering on the cross, and the next day would be the Sermon on the Mount, and the next day
backwards?
So that on the 24th it's the day of his birth, and so you're reading about Jesus being born as the candle burns out.
That's special.
Yeah, so we did that every year. I can get it for you. My sisters still have it. I don't do it now because, but my sisters all do. And so I feel like a lot of these traditions that we did as kids, I have a lot of fond memories of, like burning the candle. It's super cute. It's very lovely. It was fun. Doing the nativity, like as a kid, I remember being, drug in on my little rocking horse, pretending to be Mary with my baby doll. And like, I have, fond memories of these things, but I'm also not a very sentimental, like tradition-based person.
I'm not either.
Like that kind of stuff. I'm like, sure, we'll do that, I guess. And if not really.
It works, yeah.
Yeah, and my kids aren't really either. There's a few things that they're like, oh, every year we should do this, but we've never really been the type where like every year on this day we do this, this, and this, and that's what we do. And so, I don't do a whole lot of Christmas traditions now as a mom. Besides,
I'll say this, I did want to add off of what you're saying, is I forgot to say we do make homemade ornaments.
Yeah.
Every year. I've done it with the kids as babies. I have baby ornaments with their handprints.
Yep.
Like the sourdough. Yeah, whatever. And I've like got every kid has a handprint on my thing. I don't know. Or we did canvases, and I've got canvases all throughout my house of stuff. Mm-hmm. They were also in preschool. They all went to the same preschool. That was a Christian preschool, and they have a million canvases from that. Yeah. Million ornaments from that. So growing up, my stepmom was very particular about the kind of Christmas tree she wanted. So it had special ornaments that were she handmade a lot of it. Yeah. And is a huge tree, like freaking 9 foot, which is what yours is, right? And very big. Yeah. And at that time, I had never seen a 9 foot tree. Mm-hmm. It was just our tree was 9 foot. I was always wanting to decorate the tree, and of course, Barbara was like, "Well, no," because I wanted to look like a Victorian tree, and that's what it did. So with my kids, this is something that we have done a lot of. Is we'll open the box with the ornaments, and it is so freaking cute.
Watching them do it.
The kids open it, and they just like last year they were squealing, and being like, and they did it this year, and like, oh my gosh, look. Sharon did a YouTube video this year.
Yep. So cute.
So it's special. That is a tradition. I was like, well, they had new neighbors that they were playing with, and I was like, no, y'all are coming in this right now. We just got our tree, and we are putting our tree together. It's time. And I thought we were going to have a little pushback from it, and they totally were okay. Okay. They're like, oh yeah, let's do this. Yeah. So
we did that too as kids. My mom's Christmas tree growing up was the same thing we talked about recently. It's like all these ornaments that she has from her childhood, that my dad has from his childhood, that we all hodgepodge made in second grade and threw on there. And we decorated ourselves, and she would sit there and watch us just giggle and laugh. And I remember being a kid and laying under the Christmas tree and pretending with ornaments. So we had one that was like a little puppy and one that was a sled. Right. And I would always hang them next to each other on the very bottom so that I could play with the puppy on the sled. Exactly. And so I do that with my kids now. They decorate it. I help.
And we get an ornament every year too. We didn't last year because we were in quarantine. Well, we stayed isolated. So we could go hunting and be around people. Then like old people. So no offense, old people. Anyways.
But we do too. Every year we go to the store. I still
need to go do that.
Yeah.
We need to go see Santa at Bass Pro. That's something we do.
We try, but we don't always end up getting there. Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things that like, okay, whatever. We go visit Santa, whether it's at the mall or at...
Well, the mall is so expensive.
Yeah. They have one at Utica Square that's free, but it's...
Is it? That's far away, though.
Yeah, it's a drive.
So is Bass Pro. What am I even saying? Yeah, it's true. Anyway, I didn't know there was a free Santa.
I feel like nowadays with my like non-religious self, there's things that I do still that are kind of religious, but I don't really do like when it's time to listen to Christmas music, I still want to listen to like Nat King Cole singing Christmas songs, and he's singing Silent Night, and he's singing the first Noel, and I sing along to it, and I love it. But I don't believe it's real.
It's not worshiping.
Yeah, it's just it's like the nostalgic stuff. And like I said earlier, we have, ornaments on our Christmas tree that have angels and baby Jesus and all that stuff. And even my kids are like, oh, look, this one's cute. It's a little angel. They don't believe in angels. They just know that it's the ornament we bought when Margot was born. That's a little angel. And, and so there's that kind of thing. And, but as far as like the meaning of Christmas, for me, it's less, but even as growing up, I feel like we focused a lot more as my family and as my church community on serving others and helping people in need than we did. We talked obviously about Jesus being born and all that stuff, but it wasn't a big focus. Like I said, we did a lot of service activities to and so, the meaning of Christmas to me hasn't really changed all that much. It's
so what is it now? What's the meaning of Christmas for you as Kathleen?
So getting together with family, spending time with my children and my husband where it's relaxed and simple and fun, and then just trying to help people who are less fortunate. That's the main gist of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's special.
Yeah. And we have, my side of the family, we get together with my parents and sisters and all the cousins one day, and it's not on Christmas. This year we're doing it in like 10 days. Like we get together one day and we exchange gifts, but we don't do like Dirty Santa or anything. We just, the last few years we've had the grandkids draw names. And so everybody.
Yeah, we've done that before.
Yeah. And then my husband's side of the family his parents will usually come over like the evening of Christmas Day and drop off presents and hang out for a little while and then head out. So it's very simple. It's very low key because I'm not about to do stress. I don't want to. Because I also am not a huge fan of it's not I don't hate it, and I don't have any bad memories of Christmas. It's just it's not Halloween, okay? Like what?
I guess this year is the first year that I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, actually. And I think it's because we did have that break from last year, the way we did it. And then also setting boundaries, also Frank's new job. And
things are settled a little.
And, as you get older, you budget better.
Yeah.
And that's also nice and helpful.
Yeah.
I just feel better. I don't know if it's because I go to therapy now. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, I don't feel, it's not a heavy thing where I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I wasn't dreading it too bad this year, but I was like, I will not listen to Christmas music on purpose.
Yeah, I don't. Ever. I will on like Christmas Eve. But if I'm driving in my car and Christmas songs come on, I don't listen to them.
But this year is like the first year I was like, okay, I'll do it. And we were driving it was Thanksgiving. We were driving to my dad's, and that's a 2.5-hour drive. And we listened to Christmas music. And the kids weren't even listening to it. That's what got me. I was like, can we turn this off? Because they aren't listening. But I wasn't like, mother ever. You know what I mean? Sorry if that was a little crazy. But you know what I mean? Like, that's so crazy. How repulsive. That's how repulsive it was for me. It's like,
what's your favorite Christmas song?
I do love Oh Holy Night.
Yeah.
When we did that, our church released years ago they gave out CDs with 5 songs on it, and one of them was Oh Holy Night, and I loved that. I loved listening to it live. This is when they were really have really upped their band worship leaders to where that was like they're like professionals. And so the girl that did it was amazing, and they sing, and like of course every place you go, the worship pastor's phenomenal. And so it's good to hear. I love O Holy Night. It's a special song. It's a special meaning.
It's not my favorite.
That's okay. What's your favorite? I like it.
It's called White Wine in the Sun by Tim Minchin. He's an Australian
I've never heard
comedy.
Of this. But it's like
he sings.
It's not Christian, right?
No, and that's the point of it. The lyrics are talking about how I'm going to pull up the lyrics for you so I can kind of explain. It's basically a Christmas song for people who don't believe. I'm hardly religious. I'd rather break bread with Dawkins than Desmond Tutu, to be honest. And yes, I have all the usual objections to consumerism, to the commercialization of an ancient religion, to the westernization of a dead Palestinian, press-ganged into selling PlayStations and beer. What?
I'm offended.
Really? You're offended that he's saying that sometimes we turn Jesus, who's a Palestinian, into a white guy?
Oh,
that's what he says.
Reread that.
He says to the westernization of a Palestinian. Jesus, who was from Palestine.
I thought something else. I heard something else. I'm so sorry. I'm no longer offended.
You're fine. That's why I was like, what?
Really, Aubrey?
He says, I'm looking forward to Christmas, though I'm not expecting a visit from Jesus. I'll be seeing my dad, my brothers and sisters, my gran, and my mom. They'll be drinking white wine in the sun. And he goes on to talk. He sings to his daughter, and he says, my baby girl, my jet-lagged infant daughter, you'll be handed round the room like a puppy at a primary school, and you won't understand, but you will learn someday that wherever you are and whatever you face, these are the people who make you feel safe in this world. And so it's about family. Okay. It's about how cute. He sings about how he still likes Christmas, even though he's not a singer. He's not religious, or not a singer. He's not Christian. He's not religious.
Right.
He doesn't believe in it, but he still likes it because it means family and love and get together and joy and happiness. So that one's my favorite.
Yeah. How do you guys celebrate Christmas? I want to hear from other atheists.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity on my end, and also the Christians. What are some fun things that you and your family do? Yeah. We do have an Advent thingy we get from Aldi that's chocolate, and they open a chocolate every day. One chocolate. Cute. Do y'all do Advent at all?
If I find
one.
Advent.
I say Advent.
I know.
What the heck? It's Advent. Sorry.
If I find one, I will, but
it's not necessary.
They're hard to find sometimes, and I don't usually. But
check us out on Instagram and see some of our Christmas stuff.
We'll post
that stuff.
Yeah, it'll be cute.
All right. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.